after 12 years of building, it's time to say goodbye to One Big Happy Life. And this is really bittersweet for me because One Big Happy Life has shaped almost every part of my whole world for over a decade. It's been my creative home, my work, the way that I've connected with so many people and had so many wonderful experiences. But the truth is that we all outgrow versions of our lives. As we learn more about ourselves and what we want, it's natural to feel the pull to make changes to bring our lives more in alignment with who we are now and who we're becoming. That is part of the natural growth that happens from living. And when that happens, it means it's time to redesign, to create something that fits who you are today and who you're becoming. So after over a decade, One Big Happy Life is evolving too. It's becoming the Bespoke Life. So today, I want to share what this change means, what you can expect from the Bespoke Life going forward, and what this process has taught me about growth and reinvention and the real work of creating a life that fits again and again and again. Hi, I'm Scarlett Cochran. I'm a lawyer, an author, and the founder of One Big Happy Life, which I'm excited and, yes, a little scared and nervous to announce that going forward, it will be known as the Bespoke Life. And can we just pause for a sec and acknowledge that change often feels really scary? I've made so many massive transitions in my life, and I can tell you that everyone downplays the very real fact that change isn't always easy to do, even when you know that it's something that you want. And I'm going to talk more about the hard parts of this transition too. But before I tell you more about what's coming next, I do want to take a moment to look back because this change really has been a long time coming. One Big Happy Life started as One Big Happy back in 2013 when I uploaded a few YouTube videos sharing my natural hair journey. I had no idea back then that it would eventually grow into this business that has been able to reach millions of people around the world. My goal when I first started was just to share my natural hair journey because I had no idea how to go natural. I've been relaxed since I was 5 years old, and I learned how to transition by watching other people's YouTube videos. Well, I posted those videos, forgot about them, and then I got a check from YouTube, a $100 check, because I reached the payout threshold in 2016. And that's when One Big Happy entered its modern era, I'm going to call it, where it became One Big Happy Life, because that's when I started sharing a mix of content here on YouTube. So everything from family vlogs to investing, because I was a banking and finance attorney, so talking about personal finance came really natural to me, but also sharing things that I loved doing. So DIY projects and meal prepping, how I managed my life, goal setting, life design, because that's something that has been so important to me throughout my entire life. And of course, as I grew my own business, I wanted to talk about how to grow a business because it's something that I never learned growing up. I just thought, well, I guess I'll go be a doctor or a lawyer, as my parents told me that I needed to be. Those are one of the two acceptable professions. And then that's what my life would be until I discovered entrepreneurship. So One Big Happy became One Big Happy Life when we went to find a website and realized that onebighappy.com was taken. So we added on life, and it's been One Big Happy Life ever since. And looking back, there's so much that we've done here at One Big Happy Life that I'm so proud of. So reaching over 20 million views on YouTube and touching millions of people's lives around the world and getting to make a real difference in people's lives. Getting to work with brands that I really enjoyed working with, like Deep Sentinel, which is the home security system that we 100% swear by and still use today, many, many years later. LG, TurboTax, Visit Florida, and so many more. Getting to be in a magazine and do a professional magazine shoot. So when I was in the April 2019, Oprah Magazine, getting to be a model in a national jeans campaign for NYDJ, like a model in my 30s after having 2 kids, that was just wild. Something that I never would have thought that I could have done. Also, publishing my first book with Penguin Random House. All of that was made possible by the work that I did here with One Big Happy Life. And even personally, even the family vlogs and Instagram posts and stories that I did are some of, still to this day, some of my most cherished memories, even though I don't share my family in that way publicly anymore. But I still get the memories that pop up in my Google photos of photos that I took that were for One Big Happy Life. And my son still watches our earlier family vlogs when he was so young, where he doesn't really have the memory anymore. And those things are really our family's memories. Yes, they're One Big Happy Life, but they're also us. And because of One Big Happy Life, I've had the privilege of helping thousands of people through my courses and coaching programs. So helping people grow their wealth by hundreds of thousands of dollars, grow their businesses by hundreds of thousands of dollars, go after their dreams, leave jobs that they don't like, start businesses, move to different countries or states, and also manage their daily lives better, even if it's just to start meal prepping or start goal setting or start calendaring. All of this has meant so much to me. And that's the foundation that the Bespoke Life is being built on. So let me talk a bit about what prompted this change. And the first thing was that, okay, confession time. I never really loved the original name, neither One Big Happy nor One Big Happy Life. It always just felt kind of good enough to represent what I was trying to create. So a company whose goal was to help people create happier and more fulfilling lives. And also and also thinking about the interconnectedness of all parts of our lives and how one part of our lives affects the other parts. And it always stemmed from my own journey to create a life that felt really authentic and happy for myself, even when I experienced my own setbacks and challenges in my life. And especially because I felt like there just wasn't enough of a focus on this, especially in the personal finance space of how do you use your money to create the life that you want. But the truth is that for me, One Big Happy Life has always felt just a little too plucky, a little too happy-go-lucky, a little too cheerful and optimistic, almost like a little naive. And now don't get me wrong, I still fully believe in the idea of having a happy life. That's not changing. I just think that sometimes the truth is to have a happy life, we have to do hard things. And sometimes life is just hard and there are just hard periods. And I really wanted to make sure that we had a brand name that could kind of encompass all of that. And so be serious when things needed to be serious, but also encompass the idea of we can have a happy life and design our lives on purpose. So, and One Big Happy Life, just for me, it just never quite fit perfectly. It's like a jigsaw puzzle where you think you found the right piece and you put it there and it's like, oh, well, the little nib on the end, that's just a hair too small. I think there's another piece that's going to fit quite right, that's going to fit better. But the important lesson here that I want to share is that you don't have to wait until you have everything perfectly figured out to take action. One Big Happy Life was a good enough name to build our company for years to the tune of, multiple millions of dollars of revenue. And the truth is that I didn't have to change it. I could have kept going with that name forever. And I did keep going with it until the right name just came to me. And so don't let the fact that you don't have everything all perfectly figured out, you haven't figured out the perfect name, the perfect steps to take to reach the thing that you want to work towards, don't let that stop you from starting to take action. Because I have found that frequently clarity only comes from putting yourself in motion. So basically, you can't see how to get where you're going until you start moving forward. The other thing that's prompted this change is that I've been thinking more and more about the future of the company and where I see it going. And I really want to have a company that can live beyond me and one that can provide financial stability for my children and their children whether or not they choose to work in the company themselves. So this meant that I wanted to make sure that that I wasn't going to brand the company under my personal name, because then it would be hard for me to transition out and someone else to transition in as the face of the company. And I wanted to make sure that we're branding ourselves with a name that's distinct, that really stands out, that's easy to use. So something as simple as the fact that the URL is shorter now and easier to type for people, that the name is now 3 words instead of 4. So the Bespoke Life instead of One Big Happy Life. Small things like that really do add up. Now, a big thing that is helping me make this transition right now is watching other companies rebrand under new names. Let's not downplay how important it is to see other people going before you to help you overcome the feelings of doubt and procrastination, and to give yourself permission to actually do the thing. It can be hard to be the first person to do a thing. I know, I've done it. Not being the first person to do a thing, but doing something that I've never seen anyone else do, having to figure it all out on my own, and to be the person that's standing in front and leading. Not to say no one's ever done the things that I've done, but like when I decided to buy my first house when I was 19, everyone thought I was crazy. They didn't know how to do it. There was no one to help me. No one wanted to help me because they thought it was ridiculous, the idea that I could buy a house at such a young age. And, my parents had only bought one house, so they really didn't know either. And so it was a lot harder than it needed to be. And so that's why it can be so helpful to have people who can go ahead of us and reach back and say, hey, let me show you how to get this done. So watching other companies, bigger companies, smaller companies, rebrand just because they felt like it, like HBO Max, what was it? Like Max something. And then it went back and forth. I don't even know what it's called now. Maybe it's HBO. HBO Go, remember that? So watching these big companies change their names just because and go back and forth has really kind of emboldened me to make the change that I just feel like making. Although I am still going to talk about the hard parts about this, right? So in spite of the challenges of doing it, this is what's helping me to actually get it done. So where did the name The Bespoke Life come from? Well, I stumbled across the phrase in a book. And when I heard it, I knew instantly that was the name that I wanted. That was what I wanted to guide the company going forward. It's like when you finally find the right words for something that you've been trying to explain for years. So I found this phrase and I'm like, this is it. But the challenging part, like that stuff is still real. Changing a company name, it is a lot, right? It's new website, new URLs, new social media handles, like changing our email service provider and the email authentication, Google Analytics, like risking losing everything, all of the brand reputation that we've built over 9 years. So SEO, the recognition of the name, all of the, partnerships that we've done, all the podcast interviews, my book has One Big Happy Life on the cover. Walking away from all of that is really scary. It's scary in the exact same way that it was scary for me to transition from being a lawyer to being an entrepreneur and working for myself full time. And those kinds of big shifts, they always come with resistance. Like, yes, you're excited about the future, but it's like, what if it doesn't work? What if this was a mistake? Should I really be doing this? Maybe I should just stick with what I've always been doing because it's working. It's a little terrifying. And it takes some work to actually move past that and do the thing. So if you've ever experienced that, if you've been hesitating because something about the practical challenges of the change, or you're feeling a lot of fear of walking away from what you've built, look, I get it. Those kinds of challenges are real and they are normal. Just because you're feeling that doesn't mean that you're not still on the right path. But what we don't want to do is let the challenges, the emotions around it, like the mental drama, stop us from moving towards the life and the future that we really want. And I know that we're talking about a company transition here, but as a founder, One Big Happy Life and the Bespoke Life are somewhat an extension of me and the work that I want to create and put out into the world, the way that I want to help people, the way that I feel called to to contribute to the world at large. And so even though we're talking about a business here, it also is just a reflection of how I live and an embodiment of the values and the principles that we teach. So yes, it's a business thing, but it's also a life thing, right? Because frequently how we do one thing is how we do everything else. And what I can tell you is these kinds of big transitions are scary, but some of the best decisions in my life have also been some of the scariest, hardest decisions that I have ever made, like having a baby at 19 years old. Like wild. But not only did I create an amazing life for my daughter, but I now also have the joy of an adult daughter and best friend, a relationship that I never had with my own mother. So it has been such a blessing to be my daughter's mother. Selling my house when I was, how was I, 22, 23, maybe 24, to move to go to the best law school that I could get into before I even applied to law school. My parents told me I was crazy to sell my house because it's like getting a house was such a big deal that they just could not see that it would make any sense for me to sell my house, go live in an apartment while I apply for law school, and then go to whatever law school I got into. Like it didn't make sense to them. Well, I ended up going to Yale, so that was cool. And it really did put my legal career on an amazing trajectory that I think would have been really difficult had I not done that. And going to Yale was one of the best decisions that I've made in my life. And the last example that I'll share is my decision to date this, to me, very young seeming 26-year-old guy as a very mature feeling 29-year-old with a 9-year-old daughter. And 14 years later, 14 years and 14 years and another child later, and I am still giddy to spend every day with Joseph and hold his hand and see him. And again, it felt very scary at the time because he was young, he had no kids. It felt so risky. But look, it worked out. And here we are 14 years later. And lastly, I'll say quitting my successful legal career as a banking and finance attorney to run my own business. 4 very scary decisions that, I went back and forth about these things before making the final decision that I did. And I am so grateful that I did. It changed the trajectory of my life, and I'm so thrilled with the life that those decisions have created for me. So I say all this to say that big life-changing decisions are scary, and it is normal to feel that way. And I see this transition as a natural evolution of what One Big Happy Life was always becoming. So here's what we're evolving into. Here's what the Bespoke Life means and what it's all about. So what is a bespoke life? So the word bespoke means custom made, meaning that it's crafted to fit an individual person. And it mostly comes up in the context of custom tailored suits, which are made from scratch specifically for one person to fit their body perfectly. I love the word bespoke to describe what we want from a life because every person is different and every life is different. We don't all want the same things from life, but we all do want a life that fits us, that feels good to us, a life that we enjoy and find deeply fulfilling and meaningful. And yes, we all want to live a happy life. So the bespoke life is all about creating the life you want, a life that's built to fit who you are, how you want to live, and what actually matters to you. It's about making sure that you're spending your time, your energy, and money, that they're all working together to support that life, because those everyday choices are what will ultimately shape the life that you end up living. It's about building a life that's built on conscious choices, where everything that you're doing is moving you closer to your vision of your best life. And it's also about recognizing that that vision does change over time as we learn and grow. So it's the answer to the question, how do we live happier and more fulfilling lives our whole life? That is the Bespoke Life. So, what can you expect from the Bespoke Life going forward? My goal with the Bespoke Life is to help you create the life you want on your terms. That might sound a little familiar because that was the goal of One Big Happy Life too. So that means learning how to look at your life as a whole and think deeply about what you actually want from it, not just in one area, but across everything that matters to you. So how you spend your time, the kind of work that fulfills you, the money that you earn, how you earn it, how you use it, how you grow it, the routines and rhythms that support your daily life that help that life feel good. I want to give you a way to put all of that together to see how the choices that you make are shaping the life that you're living and how to start shaping them on purpose. I want to give you practical tools and systems to help you create that life and help your life keep working well for you even as your life changes. The Bespoke Life is about learning how to design and live a fulfilling, well-functioning, thriving life that feels like it was made just for you because it was. So, what does that look like practically? What kinds of things are we going to be talking about? Number one, defining what a good life looks like for you. So, this is all about figuring out what you actually want out of your life. So, how do you want to spend your time? What kind of work do you want to do? What kind of lifestyle feels fulfilling for you? What does enough look like for you in the different seasons of your life? This one and the next one and the one after that. So it's really about designing a life around what you actually want from your life. Because without this, it's really easy to get caught up optimizing for your current circumstances, the life you already have from the decisions that you've already made in the past, instead of consciously directing your life. So we're going to be talking about things like clarifying what a good life means for you, redefining success on your own terms, creating a vision for your next chapter in life again and again, because remember, these are not one-time things. We are constantly growing and changing, and exploring what fulfillment and happiness looks like for you. And these are all inside jobs. The call has to come from inside the house. The next thing that we're going to be talking about is something that I really consider to be life management. So it's designing your life, your days, your routines, and your goals around the life that you want. So it is the practical nitty-gritty about structuring and managing your daily life so that it supports the life that you want to live. Because remember, every area of your life is interconnected. So the way that you spend your time, the work that you do, how you use your money, the routines that you keep, and even your rest will affect the other areas of your life. And when one area of your life isn't working, it ripples through everything else. The quality of the life that you experience is shaped by the choices that you're making every day. So this is all about learning how to run your life well so that the practical parts of living all work well on their own and that they fit together to support the kind of life that you want to live. So things like creating systems and routines that make everyday life easier to manage and maintain, organizing your time and energy and environment around the things that matter most to you, managing your responsibilities in ways that create more ease and more freedom, and then developing the habits and processes that help your life run smoothly, even as it might grow and change. And of course, we're going to be talking about managing your money and building wealth in a way that supports your best life. Because I've always said that your finances are the foundation that make everything else possible. So we're going to keep talking about how to use your money intentionally, how to build stability, create freedom, and use your money so that it supports the kind of life that you actually want to live. Everything from building out your spending plans to wealth building, making good financial decisions that align with your values and your long-term goals. Mastering your finances has always been at the core of One Big Happy Life, and that is not changing. And another core pillar that I'm going to be talking about as part of the Bespoke Life is building a sustainable business that fits your life. I believe that entrepreneurship is one of the most powerful ways to create personal freedom and stability in today's world. A business gives you the ability to grow your income on your own terms, to decide what kind of work you want to do. Who do you want to work with? How much do you want to earn? In a time when so many employers don't prioritize their employees' long-term security, or even short-term happiness, owning a business gives you control over your own financial future, your own ability to make and grow money. It's how you can create work that you love and get paid really well for doing it, while also building a financial foundation that will support the rest of your life. So inside of the Bespoke Life, we're going to explore how to build and grow a business that fits you, your goals, your skills, and your season of life, so that your work is both a source of fulfillment and financial stability. So the kinds of topics that we're going to be covering. So the kinds of topics that I'll be covering: building a right-sized business that supports your life, choosing a business model and income streams that reflect your strengths and goals, and how to grow that business sustainably over time, and creating systems that make your business simpler and easier to run and to grow. So that's what you can look forward to from the Bespoke Life going forward. So now I want to share a little bit about what this process has taught me about growth and reinvention. So lesson number 1, growth is something that happens when you respond to your life. As we move through life, what we want changes. It's normal. That is called growing. But it's important that we pay attention to those shifts, because that's what's going to allow us to make choices about our lives that help us keep feeling excited and fulfilled, instead of just stuck on autopilot or stuck with the previous choices that we made. And so when you build your life around your values, it's going to evolve as you do. The things that used to fit might stop fitting. That is feedback. And listening to that pull towards something new is how you stay connected with who you're becoming. That's how you make sure that your life continues to feel like yours, that it's something that's fulfilling, that's something that's bringing you joy, that is something that you are living fully with minimal regrets. Lesson number 2 is that change doesn't mean starting over. It's building on what came before. One Big Happy Life, it's not disappearing. It's becoming a part of something different. And the Bespoke Life could only exist because of everything that came before it inside of One Big Happy Life. That is what growth is. It builds on what came before. So you're never starting over when you're making shifts. Like when I moved from being a lawyer to being an entrepreneur, I wasn't starting over. I was building on what I had done before. And even now, as a lawyer, I am so thankful that I have these legal skills, even though I'm an entrepreneur, because it does make me a better entrepreneur. So when we change, even when we're pivoting, we're carrying the lessons, the skills, the meaning from one chapter of our lives into the next. So reinvention isn't about starting from scratch or starting over, even though it can be wiping the slate clean. It can feel like starting fresh. It's still a continuation of building on everything that came before it. So nothing's lost. Nothing is a waste. Everything brought you to the point where you are now to help you be ready for that next chapter. And a final lesson is just a reminder that to create the lives that we want, to have a well-lived life, we're going to have to redefine what a good life looks like to us as we learn and grow and change. It is perfectly normal for something that you did for years and years and years that used to motivate you, or a goal that used to motivate you, to not anymore. And it's just important that we pay attention to that, right? We make sure that we're checking in with ourselves and asking ourselves, what does enough look like for us now? What matters to us now? And how do we continue to make choices that move us towards the life that we want right now? So I'm so excited for One Big Happy Life to transition into the Bespoke Life and to continue to do this work with you as we all work towards creating the lives that we want. Thank you so much, and I will see you next time. Bye.